There it is. And we're off.
Yes, sir.
Monday. Now we're in the afternoon, not Monday morning anymore. What's up, people? People will soon be entering. Here we go. First question of the day. Harden versus Simmons rap battle. Who wins? Harden easily. Harden been in the studio with Lil Baby, with Drake. He got the Houston connects. Now he's got some Brooklyn in his flow. Where Ben Simmons been? Australia.
The Kardashians.
The Kardashians. Nah, I'm not going with Ben on that one. But we'll do plenty of that. We'll be doing plenty of that conversation here. Let's get into it. All right. Counting us in to record the pod. Recording on my end. What up, Jared? I see you. Early gang, notification squad in the chat. Boom. All right. Counting us in for real now. Don't want to waste too much time because I've been starting these episodes like 10 minutes into the live. Hey, check me out, y'all.
The beard one.
We're going to talk about it. Here we go. We got 12 people in the chat. That's good enough to start from the top. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Talking Nets, episode 149. The trade deadline approaches this week, and we're on an 8-game losing streak. The last 2 games, obviously, we lost, and it sucks right now. It's okay to be concerned. It's okay to be upset with how this is all unraveled, how it seems like the sky is falling. But we're going to talk about it.
Yes,
My
sir.
guy Will has joined me. What's up, Will?
What's up, Keith? How you doing, brother?
All right, talking Nets. Obviously, James Harden and the rumors around James Harden and the articles that have come out over the weekend is the main focus of this episode. We also have some voicemails, and we'll take your chat questions. But really, we got to just keep having this stupid conversation until the trade deadline happens Thursday. So hopefully this is the last episode. We haven't won a game in 4 episodes. Talking Nets, let's get it. Yes, sir. Welcome back to Talking Nets, episode 149. Keith McPherson joining you today with my guy, William Simmons, the Brooklyn kid, Brooklyn's finest. One of the OG Nets fans and one of the real Nets fans that's just online, keeping it a buck. Someone that you guys may have seen in the chat. Now, Will goes from the YouTube chat to the show as we are working on bringing in Nets fans as the guests. Nets fans to co-host the show, and actual Nets fans to talk about the Nets with me. Will, go ahead and introduce yourself, bro. Tell the people a little bit about yourself, your fandom, where you're from. Go for it.
Fandom. Well, I've been a Nets fan since '95. Sega Genesis. Benoit Benjamin. All of them. Kerry Kittles, stuff like that. Born and bred in Brooklyn. Nets fan from my mom, unfortunately. Everybody probably knows her. Dawn, Section 1, Johnson. And just living here.
Simple as that. If you guys don't know Dawn, the Brooklyn Brigade, she's like the queen of the Brooklyn Brigade. You know, you got to go pay your respects to the queen when you pull up to the block. I always give her a big hug. I'm always happy to see her. And, you know, I'm Nets Yankees. Y'all could probably see my Nets Yankees back there. His mom is a Nets Yankee fan, and she's an OG. Before we started recording, I was saying how much I just appreciate her for being on the scene. She travels to away games.
Yeah.
She'd be at the Yankee games and the Brooklyn Nets games, but she also travels to away games. She's
Long Island Nets games. Long Island Nets games. They got season tickets too. They go everywhere.
Her on the pod, man. We'll have to do a Brooklyn Brigade episode. I'd like to get her. I'd like to get Bobby, maybe Miggs, Doug, a couple other people from the Brooklyn Brigade. But let's get into it. Let's not bury the lead. Today we're going to do things in a little bit of reverse as far as how we do the pod. I want to hit these voicemails quickly.
Sounds good.
Because I don't want us to have the full discourse. Like, Will and I could talk about this whole situation for the whole 45 minutes, hour, and then when we play the voicemails, we'd be repeating, as far as the questions and topics that you guys have. So we'll play the voicemails first. I already see the chat questions coming in. The first one was funny, and I like some comic relief, some levity here. First question was Harden versus Simmons rap battle. Who wins? And then the next one was, do you think the Nets will turn this around? Because we're literally in the play-in tournament right now. Those are great questions. Being in the play-in tournament on February 7th means absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
And we'll get into it. I have a bunch of takes, and I will probably play devil's advocate a little bit on this episode just for the sake of the argument, but then I will let you guys know like where I actually stand on certain things. But here we go. Let's get into the voicemails. Why not?
Okay, guys, really enjoyed the show. I'd like to get your assessment of Bruce Brown this season. He really was a valuable part of the team last year and started many games. But this season, he seems to be in Steve Nash's doghouse. Unlike Blake Griffin, whose production...
I think that was a old voicemail from... That one came in Thursday. And I think that was after before we recruited or we recorded. Honestly, like, Bruce Brown is the last of my thoughts.
Yeah. He's not even...
If he gets traded this week at the deadline, whatever, but, like, he's not the focus. Just like yesterday, I saw people getting mad at James Johnson, and I'm like, okay, getting mad at James Johnson in all of this is, like, misplaced blame. There's so many other people you could blame before you get mad at James Johnson. Let's go to the voicemail that actually came in this morning. That one's from Thursday. Now we have some actual Monday voicemails that have come in.
Hey, what's up, Keith? Talking Nets fam. This is Bird's Eye View from Twitter. So this days are kind of feeling like the New Jersey days more than the Brooklyn days. But we got to be thankful. We got to be thankful that we got KD on our side. KD will be coming back, and we should just be grateful for that, honestly. And happy birthday to our coach, Steve Nash. All right, guys. Peace.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. It's kind of shitty to have an 8-game losing streak on your birthday, but happy birthday to you, Coach Steve Nash. It's not all your fault, but it is some of your fault because you are the coach. Hey, Will, so shout out to our guy Bird's Eye View. He might be in the chat. I know he watches on Twitch. We are officially on Twitch now. What are your thoughts about, well, obviously, happy birthday to Coach Steve Nash.
Yes, happy birthday.
But the first thing he said was, this feels like the old Nets. And I said that. And if you listen to Talking Nets, which everybody that is listening and watching does, what did I say? I'm like, 4-game losing streak? We don't panic until an 8-game losing streak. And now we're at an 8-game losing streak like some of the teams in the past. What are your thoughts, bro?
I can see a little similarities. But you got to remember, KD is a couple of weeks away. We're only, 5 games out of first place while having an 8-game losing streak. That's not that bad.
Yeah, and obviously that's what Bird's Eye View said too. He said we got to be thankful we got KD on our side. KD will be coming back. And there's a part of me that is tired of hearing KD's coming back, because you're setting yourself up for a lot if you expect KD to carry. You're expecting a lot from one man, which you literally put him in that same exact position last year, and it didn't work out. Now, is he capable of it? Of course. This is the best basketball player in the world. Do I have faith in it? Yes. But I have faith in a lot of things that have failed so far this season, right? I have faith in Kyrie rejoining the team. and not being an issue, and them telling us, yeah, it's gonna work perfectly. I have faith in James Harden, getting back into shape, not having a hamstring injury, and being able to return to what looked like MVP form. What you can count on isn't necessarily like always enough, right? In theory, it's enough to say Kevin Durant comes back and he's the Band-Aid. He's how we stop the bleeding. But at the same time, there seems to be more issues that Kevin Durant as one man can't just solve. It's gotten a little deeper out here. Let's
Plus, we gotta wait for him to ramp up again. The usual ramp up that the Nets give to these players.
Absolutely. And if you're a math person and you're looking at the schedule and time, if KD comes back, let's say February 24th at the earliest, and he's got to ramp up for a month until we think he's full, that's damn near the whole season. That's it. So more on that, more on the standings, more on KD's return as we get further into the episode. Let's play another voicemail. And you guys are better this week. Like, I didn't get a bunch of 2-minute voicemails, so here it is.
That was a good one.
What's up, Keith? It's Solomon here. I've been wondering, though, because I've been trying to keep a real positive mindset about the whole thing, but it's getting there. What exactly is how do you think the Nets take the rest of this week? Do you think we change Harden? Originally I didn't think so, but starting to get more real. If not, do we trade for a role player? If yes, who? Do you think there's any way we could up Claxton? Talk me through the trade deadline. Love you, man. Listen to the pod every day. Thanks so much. Let's go Nets.
His name was Solomon. Appreciate you, bro. Love you too.
Sir.
We're fine.
Yes, sir.
Take everything, as it comes. What I find reading through all of these Nets Twitter things and these Twitter spaces is, damn, people have already decided what's going to happen, not just this week, not just the rest of the season. People already know what's going to happen in the playoffs and in the next year. Season's over, huh?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Will, tell me something, man. What are you thinking? Before I answer the questions that Solomon had, he asked about, what's going to happen this week. What do you think happens this week? It's deadline week. It approaches Thursday. Yeah. We are days away. Something could happen today.
I can see us probably adding maybe an Eric Gordon from Houston. He's on the block.
Shooter.
Damn
sure could use one.
I can't see Harden getting traded. I can't see that whatsoever, especially to a division rival. Doesn't make any sense.
I mean, and we're going to talk about it, right?
We're going to talk about it.
It's hard for me to hold it back because the shit is stupid. Why would we make a trade right now to help a division rival get better than us?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But I think it's going to be role players.
I wouldn't accept anything besides a king's ransom from them jokers. Okay, we understand. You got to move Ben Simmons, right? Ben Simmons hasn't played. Why would we be bending over backwards to get Simmons here? He ain't been on the floor. We don't know what he's going to look like. We're talking about value. You have to give to get. And you know what? They want to get James Harden. That's great. But we don't have to give up James Harden because they want him.
No, it's not at all.
It's not that simple, y'all.
You
because Shams wrote something. I've been telling y'all Shams is an op. I've been telling y'all that. I told y'all Shams was an op in the preseason, right? As soon as we started hearing about Kyrie, and he wanted, Kyrie will never play in Brooklyn unless he gets vaccinated. Shut up, Shams. We get it, right? And before we move on to the next voicemail, Shams is the voice of the players and players' agents and players' friends and other players in the league and confidants.
Exactly.
So when you hear stuff from Shams, it is entering on the gossipy text messaging.
Exactly.
BS meter, let's stir up the pot type of stuff. When you hear from Woj is the one that the executives confine in. He's been in the game longer than Shams. He's older than Shams. He's a grown-ass man that they respect. So when Marks and the Nets and whatever organization or executives want information to leak out, it leaks through Woj, from my understanding.
Exactly. That's what it seems like.
I don't get too worked up over any Shams articles because I know he's plotting against. He's always plotting against. He wants to see the big three and the Brooklyn Nets fail.
You're right. You're right. It's everything I listen to is Woj, and from what you've seen with Marks lately, it's everything's in house. I don't really ever hear him leaking anything. The Harden stuff last year, it was everything. Oh, nobody's talking, and then bam, it happens. I j- all the say, all hey, I don't listen to it.
You have to not listen to it, right?
Clicks.
Don't get me wrong, y'all. There will be a time potentially in 2 months where it's time to panic, right? If we're looking at a playing situation in 2 months, it's like, damn, like our season could be over. We slipped this far, but there's no reason to panic in February. I get it though. You know, it's concerning when you lose 8 games and it's paired with this James Harden rumor, and now
Exactly.
we've seen James Harden not playing in games. They've shut him down, which I actually requested a few games ago. If y'all look at the Talking Nets Twitter, I was like, shut him down then.
Yeah.
Shut him down. After the Sacramento game, I was like, shut him down. And I effectively think they have shut him down in the way of saying he's got a hamstring injury. Shut him down. Because it's starting to bleed into the play of the team, right? The rumors and whatever things that we have to say. But as we get through this episode, I'm gonna defend James Harden a bit. I'm
with you.
James Harden a bit. Don't get it twisted. I'm not gonna be the one to sit here and get Harden out of here. I heard someone in the spaces last night like he's a traitor. He quit on us. I'm like, bro, the season, like if he quit for a regular season game or didn't have it on the second half of a back-to-back in a regular season game or something like that, it's one game that's not gonna matter in the grand scheme of things. Now, if we find out that he said something or did something inside the building where it's too far gone, you can't take that back, we got to get him out of here, then get him out of here this week.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's stupid. I really don't. I think this man is smarter than y'all realize. I think this man has definitely had some frustration and pushed some buttons, but I don't think he's that ready to go play with Joel Embiid
and leave
right
KD
now and give up on this. Like, this was supposed to be an unfinished business season, right? These guys were coming back because they felt like they had unfinished business the way that the season ended last year with 2 out of the 3 big 3 members hurt. So in a matter of, I don't know, 7 months, Harden is over it. I don't know that. I don't know if I can believe that because it's been tweeted. All right, last voicemail, and then will follow me as we go through these different topics and things, and then you guys in the chat can get involved too. In 1 second. What up? I see Nets Kingdom out here. AJ, is that AJ? What's up? Miggs in the chat. What's up? Julia in the chat. I see a bunch of familiar faces. Tasman, what up, bro? Barry, I see you. Joseph, what up? What up? What up? Brian, what up? Bianca. We got a few people in there. All right, last voicemail.
Yeah, my family's in the chat.
Yeah, you got some fam? Shout them out if you see them. Go for it.
Brian, my fiance Bianca. They're all in there.
Appreciate the support, Nats World. All right, let's play this last one.
Hey, Keith. It's JJ from Teaneck, New Jersey. Haven't called in a while. I would see the tweet, and then I'd be at work or in class and stuff, and I'd be like, oh, man. And then I would forget about it after I would be done with that thing, and then I'd forget to call him. But I remembered to call him this time. Basically, I don't even know what's up, right? Like, I want Harden to stay because when he's on his game, he can carry this team. But he's not on his game, and he has not been up to standard with what I would expect trading a lot of our guys that we traded for him, and also like all of our first-round picks. That's a separate issue. I know we sell first-round picks through the switches and stuff, but I like to think that we traded away first-round picks for Harden. But yeah, no, like the way that his style of play has just not been great at all. Like he's been lazy on defense. I almost wonder, like when KD comes back, like give Cam a chance to run the first group as the point guard if Kyrie's still not playing home games. Because even though Cam Thomas isn't the greatest defender, and I agree he has to work on it, he at least gives effort. It's not like he's leaving a guy wide open in 3 and won't close him out like James Harden did a couple times in the last couple games. All right, thank you for taking my call.
JJ, you the man. Appreciate all the support, bro. but I am not throwing Cam Thomas in as a starting point guard his rookie season with what we've seen. He has been able to score it. We got a 30-point game out of young Cam Thomas the other night. That is great. That bodes well for what? That bodes well for him to keep coming off the bench and doing that. That doesn't all of a sudden make him a starter. That doesn't make him able to handle the ball and run the offense through him in his first rookie season amongst all of this turmoil. He is not ready for it. Now, let's get into the different topics and certain things we've got going on. I see y'all in the chat, multiple questions. I'll throw them out there, but let's save the chat questions for later, you know? Yeah, let's not throw them out there. I have an agenda I want to get off. So first, news. Let's start with news. The biggest news for me is that Caris LeVert has been traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Oh, no. Oh, shit. Oh, why? Why all of this right now? I can't.
It's piling it on.
Will, how you feeling about Caris LeVert reuniting with Jared Allen in Cleveland while all of this is going on for our Brooklyn Nets? We get that extra punch on top to say, the guys that you traded for Harden are going to go team up in Cleveland, and Cleveland is a top contender.
They are.
Who you may face in the playoffs.
Unfortunately, I actually like it. I like the move. I like Caris LeVert as the backup point guard to Garland.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Great move.
It hurts though. It hurts though.
I was watching Caris go off Friday, and then he goes to Cleveland, and I'm like, oh, okay. You put a scorer like that with Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, obviously with Jared Allen, some of the other pieces they have on that team, Kevin Love. You know, they have some guys, and they're figuring it out. Isaac Okoro, Lauri Markkanen. It doesn't even matter that, like, Rubio got hurt. They went and got Rondo. That doesn't even matter. Darius Garland's going to be the guy for them. Now he's got Caris. Jared Allen is playing in arguably his best season ever. His game has developed so much. You don't have that feeling from your old Nets days of like, damn, we really gave up these two guys that were our core, and now they get reunited in Cleveland. Like, Cleveland just took two guys we drafted and are going to make them starters on their playoff team this year.
It hurts. It hurts, but we weren't going to re-sign Jared Allen, unfortunately. Caris LeVert.
We weren't going to give him $100 million.
You had to make that trade 10 out of 10, unfortunately, but I'm happy for them. Enjoy Cleveland. Enjoy Cleveland.
I guess I'm happy for them. I guess I like the move. For me, what I'm saying is it just hurts as a Nets fan for us to be on an 8-game losing streak.
That's what it is.
We went the superstar route. We sold, and we went the superstar route. And you know what comes with superstar? The superstar ego and superstar differences. And it's Steve Nash's birthday, and you put Steve Nash in charge of handling all of this as a rookie coach that has no experience doing this, and it's blown up in our face. So that was the biggest news thing for me. The narrative is this, and we'll talk around the narrative now. I feel like this is all bad karma for the Nets. I don't know who the Nets did wrong. I don't know who the Nets shitted on. I don't know what the Nets did. Maybe they did some kind of deal with the devil.
It's Dr. J. It's Dr. J.
It's Dr. J's karma hitting us.
The karma of having to sell him to come to the NBA is just
the curse of Dr. J hitting us. But the narrative right now is that James Harden is frustrated because Kyrie hasn't been able to play, and now Kevin Durant is hurt. So he's got to shoulder the load, and I'm telling you, this is the narrative. And he didn't come here to shoulder the load. People are saying he came here for an easy route, a free ring, and now he's not trying to play while he's hurt. He's got the hamstring. It went from hamstring to heart, head. The narrative is that James Harden doesn't want to be here. I haven't heard that from James Harden himself.
No,
I haven't heard him say that. Coach Nash came out in the press game or the pregame press conference yesterday, and he said, no, we're not trading James Harden. So for me, we're not trading James Harden until he's traded, and I'm staying put on it. What do you believe and what do you not believe out of this narrative right now, Will?
Right now, I think, to me, it feels like a little bit like Jason Kidd. When he was ready to get out of here, he said the migraine, sat out against the Knicks, and then a couple of days later, he's gone. But we didn't have a Kevin Durant on the roster back then. So I can't see him doing anything really to upset that guy.
Okay, what are your thoughts on the other side, right? Obviously, we're on the Nets side.
Of course.
What are your thoughts on the Philly side, right? Philly has to get rid of Ben Simmons. He hasn't played a game all year. He's not trying to play for them, nor do I believe they want him to play for. Like, that is done. That is over. And in the beginning of the season, people were saying trade him for Kyrie, and I was like, are you out of your mind? Like, you don't like Kyrie versus Ben Simmons is no contest.
No contest.
What are your thoughts about Philly and what they're thinking on their side, on their end?
Philly's thinking Embiid, 27, 28 years old, in his prime, needs to be paired up with an actual star. So Ben Simmons don't want to be there. Who else can you get? James Harden. I doubt you get him, but you have to fill in that prime time with somebody that's on the same level as Joel Embiid. And Steph Curry's not doing it. Maxi's not doing it. Thibault. You gotta, just like how we went try to get the superstars, they're trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, and I feel like Embiid has been balling this year without any superstars next to him, and he knows that's not sustainable for the playoffs.
Exactly.
Embiid is the type that's injury prone, which is funny that James Harden is, on one hand, upset that Kevin Durant is injured right now and he has to shoulder the load. But on the other hand, they're saying he wants to join Embiid, and Embiid doesn't play enough where James Harden would be over there shouldering the load. Okay.
Exactly. And they'll have to trade everybody.
Right.
You're giving up everybody.
Like, you're going to go over there, and it's going to be a big three of Embiid, Maxey, and Harden, I guess. But that's what I'm saying, right? And people have to think about negotiations and business and leverage, okay? The Nets have the leverage. The Nets have the asset that the Sixers want.
Yep.
The biggest asset that the Sixers can trade, in theory, is Ben Simmons. But he hasn't played, so his value is less than what we actually think of him, right? What we actually think is like, elite defender. He's got the size. He's got the defense. He can pass. His shooting isn't great, but if he's in the paint, he can dominate. And maybe, right, I had said this on a pod, he should have been spending every day that he hasn't played this year working on his free throws and at least his mid-range jumper. If you don't ever have a three, whatever. But get that mid-range jumper to be efficient and knock down your free throws. I don't want him. I've been vocal about it. I don't want him on this team. I don't think that he can play in New York. I don't care if his dad lived in the South Bronx for a little bit and they want to float a rumor that Ben Simmons would love to play here. Yeah, everybody would love to play here until they actually play here. Julius Randle would love to play in New York. James Harden would love to play in New York. So, what are your thoughts about Ben Simmons, bro? Do you literally, do you like his style of play, and do you think that he is able? He's a big-ass baby. Do you think that he's able to come? It's the same shit. If we're getting Harden right now and people are saying Harden's being a diva and Harden's upset about treatment of other players like a Kyrie and having to carry and not wanting to play with lesser players than he had in Houston, what do you think Ben Simmons is going to be when he gets here? And he has to play because Kyrie is on a leave or took a sabbatical or is exploring Western medicine versus the vaccine. What are you thinking about Ben Simmons' fit here? I don't think he fits here, so there's no deal.
I don't think he fits either, but you got to remember, Kevin Durant's here. These guys will do what he tells them to do. I think he can finish a little bit better than James Harden's finishing right now, though. Harden's legs aren't there right now. Big, tall defender. Can pass. He can pass, so open player. I don't want him, though. I don't want him.
He has – okay, so there's two ways that people have to think about this because I see fans talking about it all the time. Oh, he'd be the perfect fit. He'd be the perfect fit if he had a different mental.
Yeah.
Right? He'd be the perfect fit if we knew he'd come. He's coming out of a situation that he forced himself out of because he didn't show up in the playoffs, because he didn't have it in winning time because he folded under pressure, and then they didn't have his back because they don't have to have his back post-game about it. You failed. You folded.
Yeah.
And that's the God-honest truth. Everybody saw it with their own eyes. Nobody needs to defend you. You need to be a man and be accountable. That doesn't mean, I don't want to play here anymore. Trade me. No, you're weak for that. And, like, you know, if there's truth to this Harden narrative that Harden isn't playing right now, you know, he's weak for that too. If Harden, and I don't know if it's true, that's why I'm saying I'm going to defend him. That's what I'm saying. If there's truth to this narrative that James Harden is frustrated about Kyrie Irving not getting the vaccine and only playing half the games, if he's frustrated because Kevin Durant is hurt, well, a lot of the guys on the team are hurt. You know, Joe and Claxton are hurt. But Joe Harris, let's start with the injuries. Let's talk injuries now.
Lamarcus.
Joe Harris, this ankle. I mean, he's been out since November 13th. May he come back?
I don't think so.
Maybe can't come back. He might get a second surgery, be done for the year. He had a second opinion. We just wait in limbo. And I feel like this about Joe. I feel like it's a situation where he could play. Where, like, you know, and the Nets are kind of slow playing this and they're waiting till after the deadline. Maybe he's in trade talks. Maybe he's not. Maybe they're just waiting to see if we survive this deadline and what we look like. Who knows? But I also think there could be some interest in him. What are you thinking about Joe Harris? I feel like Joe Harris is such a huge piece to this puzzle that people don't mention. They kind of, like, forget about him. It's all around the big three.
Yeah, he's missing. We're missing him. We're missing him. Just his shooting, not just his shooting, but his drives, his defense, just him being on the court opens up everything for everybody else. I think he might be done for the season. Unfortunately, this way his rep talked the other day about needing a second surgery and stuff like that. He's a big piece missing, and unfortunately, who knows?
I'm holding out hope. I'm still holding out hope that he returns, but that's because I'm an optimistic person. That's because I'm always holding out hope for better in general. And, you know, that's the next thing I wanted to speak on. As we talk about injuries, I wanted to make sure I said on here that ball is life. Every hooper, every fan of hoop knows that phrase, ball is life. But think about what that means. Art imitates life. Basketball is life playing out on the court. You're going to have disagreements with people you work with. You're going to have times at work where you're like, yo, I'm doing more work than the people that are getting paid just as much as me. In James Harden's case, he's getting paid a lot more than people, so I really can't.
A lot more.
Really can't draw that parallel with him, but you're going to be upset with your brothers. You're going to be upset with your coworkers. You're going to be upset with your boss when things don't go your way. I've said multiple times now, judge a man and his character based on how he acts when things don't go his way. If there's truth to this stuff with Harden, get him out of here. He's cancerous. If there's truth to this stuff about Harden, then you do have to trade him because he can literally sink this entire ship. He wasn't originally in the plans. No. The original plan was KD and Kyrie's team-up duo, and they would run the team. If Harden is showing signs of, like, and that's why I say I don't know if he said anything in the locker room or if he said anything to anyone in a position of power that it might be too far gone. If it's too far gone, trade him. But if he
I don't think it's that far.
Right. If he hasn't crossed that line, if he hasn't gone that far, you don't trade him. Another guy hurt that is important to us right now that we are missing is Lamarcus Aldridge. We're missing his scoring, and he's someone that I said when KD went out would be vital to the Nets because of his scoring.
And just his presence around the rim, blocking shots and stuff like that.
And just him being a veteran coming out of San Antonio where, you know, I feel like him and Patty right now got to be looking at the Nets like, wow, this is so dysfunctional. We did not expect this. Yeah. We did not want to come here late in our careers and be in this dysfunction. Y'all got to figure it out. And in Marks we trust. Say that. In Marks we trust. Yeah. Sean Marks kind of got us into this mess. I expect Sean Marks to get us somewhat out of this mess.
Oh, definitely.
And there could be some type of trade going. What do you got for that, Will?
I definitely see something happening. Something's going to happen just to shore up that bench. I can see probably Bruce gone, Carter gone. Unfortunately, I see Millsap gone.
Definitely. I mean, he wants to. That's another hole, right? I'm glad you mentioned Millsap. Millsap hasn't been playing for 2 weeks now because he doesn't want to be here. So to me, I think there's dysfunction in this organization. Obviously, he's pissed off because he wanted to have a bigger role, but he's washed. there really isn't a bigger role, so you rather just shut it down so that you can get traded. Like, this stuff, it bleeds, and it's an infection in the team. Like, I really think that's what they're doing with Harden right now. And Nick Claxton is another one that we mentioned. He's got the hamstring. He came back for a game against the Kings, had his best game.
Yeah,
and then he sat the next 2 games. It's like, okay, are the Nets playing this injury game to hide people? Are the Nets playing this injury game until the break? And I think they are, right? It's easy to lose these games and just say, this guy is out. This guy, like I think it's crazy that Harden wasn't even on the bench. And I heard people say, oh, well, he's getting treatment. Fuck that. You can get treatment. Like, there's so many times a day that you can get treatment. You can't sit there for the first half of a game and support your team. I think it's twofold. I think it's the Nets shielding him, but I also think he's disinterested right now. He is upset, and a decision has been made to shut him down where he's kind of on like this, like, whatever happens, happens. Like, I don't need to do anything. I'm not playing. And that hurts the team. And that's not good for these young guys looking at this team, and that's not good for the fans watching this team. We're just losing games, and it's like, we know we're going to lose, right? Yeah. The Jazz game, I'll give you an example. The Jazz game Friday, I worked until 8:50 at the station, and then I came home to watch the game. I was babysitting my, 7-year-old cousin, and I could tell he didn't want to watch the game, so I gave him some time. Like, yo, what do you want to watch? And I'm glad I did that because I was just checking the score on my phone. Sometimes you need a mental health break. Like, some of y'all might need to not watch the game tomorrow night, Tuesday, for your own sanity, for your own mental health. I needed Friday night to just not watch the game and look. And then when I looked at the game, I'm like, oh, we're getting smoked. Of course we're getting smoked. But, it wasn't even competitive. And I
stayed up for that game. It was terrible. I
wasn't wasting my time with that one. I watched the whole game yesterday. But, basically, I knew we were going to lose, and that's not a good place to be. When you know you're not going to win and you're watching these games against better competition and you, as a fan, you don't even care to watch, it's not fun. This is supposed to be fun. We like basketball. We like the Nets. We're supposed to be watching the best Nets team ever constructed. That's what they told us in the offseason, right? On paper, this is the best Nets team ever constructed. Will, tell me something about you watching the games and your vibe and your energy around this lately, because in this last 2 weeks, we've been losing and more news comes out, and then every rival fan base wants to pile on. How have you been feeling as a Nets fan,
Me watching these games is very disheartening. I'm upset all day long, and I take it out on everybody in the house. I don't want to hear nothing. Don't talk to me. I'm disgruntled. It's terrible to see in the body language, the hero ball, one dribble shot, no passing, no cutting. It's sad watching this stuff. It's sad. Staying up late. I got work at 12 o'clock at night. I'm staying up watching Utah Jazz smoke the Nets. It's no good. It's no good at all.
And you know what? If we had a veteran coach, maybe that could be the stabilizing force. If Steve Nash had more years of experience, right? If we weren't literally dealing with a coach that is going through this for the first time, this is his first losing streak of this magnitude, where last night in the game, we were only down 1 at half. It was 76-75, where I thought, like an idiot, I thought that this would be like some of the Nets teams we've seen, where they come out in the second half and they're on fire. Something happened in the locker room. What did Nash say in the locker room? Who stepped up? What veteran made a statement? What changes did they make? No. They came out and got rolled in the second half, which showed me, man, that Steve Nash has no respect in the locker room. He's got no game plan right now. This thing has gone so far that I don't think a single guy on this team is looking at Steve Nash for answers, because he doesn't have the answers. The last episode we did, I titled it No Leadership, because without Kevin Durant, there is no leadership. There isn't one consistent voice. There isn't one consistent example to follow behind, to listen to lead the way. Not in the organization as far as the front office, not in the coaches, and not on the court. Kyrie can't be that. You know why Kyrie can't be that? Because Kyrie took a stance for his life, not his career. Kyrie took a stance against the vaccine. No one else did. He's the only one. But he doesn't have that same level of respect as a part-time player. He doesn't have that same amount of respect as a guy that missed 35 games this year. You feel me? As much
Yes,
as I
sir.
support Kyrie, I'm not blind to the fact that this thing has become an issue. And that's the next thing I wanted to speak on. Kyrie and his post-game stuff, right? This has become an issue. And as much as we're waiting on Kevin Durant to return, we're also waiting on a mandate to change or an exemption to be made for Kyrie Irving. You can't bank on that either.
It's not happening.
I believe it's going to happen just because I'm in New York City every single day and I know how things work out here. It's about business, especially with these politicians. It's about business and who's, whose business they're concerned with, whose, pocket they're in, who's in their pocket. It's going to come down to, like, when it gets warmer out here in New York City and things are free-flowing and happening more, there's going to be a decision to remove the mandate, similar or let it expire or whatever, similar to what we're going to see in other places and what we're seeing here with the mask mandate. Okay, we don't have to wear masks anymore. What's the next step? The next step is going to be that you don't need to show proof of vaccination. Now, Kyrie's situation, go for it.
Connecticut already started that.
Right. Connecticut and Massachusetts.
Connecticut, they got rid of the mandate for the.
They got rid of the mask mandate, and also in those states they have exemptions for athletes and entertainers to be able to do their jobs and entertain unvaccinated. All those things can happen, but there's also something people need to realize. This is New York. Like, we don't follow anybody else. We do what New York does. And if there's still problems in New York, which there are still some problems in Brooklyn, like in the actual place where the Nets are, there's still people in the hospitals with COVID, even though the numbers are contained, where they can't make a decision to, like, exempt Kyrie or change a mandate that even feels like Kyrie yet, or Kyrie has influenced it yet. So yesterday they asked Kyrie in the post game. Well, actually, Will, you're a New Yorker.
Yes, sir.
Share your thoughts on that, and you're in the city every day. Share your thoughts on where you think the city is heading, what it could potentially look like out here, what you know about other places, and your thoughts just as somebody that works in the city.
Yeah, work for MTA. I'm a conductor, but I think the 17th of February, they're supposed to be letting go of police officers that don't get vaccinated. And with the high crime that's going on right now, something might have to change with that mandate, because you can't get rid of the police, especially with all these crimes going up and stuff like that.
Did we not just see hundreds, thousands of policemen lining the city to honor their fallen brothers that were shot? Now, February 17th, there's supposed to be something that is going to require all police officers to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
If that is true and that stands to lessen the force, things are going to be revisited and going to be
something's going to get changed.
Something can potentially change with that. So Kyrie was asked about a bunch of things last night, basketball related. You know what? I want to say Kyrie has done a good job in the post game, like in the Jazz post game. Actually, like, he pissed me off in the Sacramento post game because he said that the Sacramento Kings made playoff type adjustments, and I'm just like, Kai, you're giving this team too much props. They're not a playoff team.
Much.
They never make the playoffs. They're on a 7-game losing streak. It's more about us than them. But then he came out and he said, like, the right things against the Jazz after we lost to the Jazz. And then, he had some comic relief last night against the Nuggets. So basically, they asked him about the mandate and about, like, what's to come. And the biggest thing I got from that is that he said, my fingers are crossed. Who knows? I'm praying for something to happen either this week or next week. If not, then after the All-Star break. What are your thoughts on Kyrie? And before you say it, I just think it's hilarious that Kyrie has the power to change this by getting the vaccine, but we know that's not an option for him. So he goes on the podium, on the microphone, and is acting like this victim, or like he's waiting, like I should be able to play home games. I haven't been able to get to where I want to be because I'm only playing half the games. Bro, that's on you. The players that are playing all of the games on the team, they got vaccinated.
We
get that you don't want to be vaccinated, but I don't get that you're on the podium acting like you don't have the power to change this.
That's
I would
the problem.
actually respect Kyrie more if he came out and said, I made my decision, and I understand how much that affects the team, but I made my decision before we ever got to this rough patch. Before we knew we were going to lose 8 games, I made my decision, and I'm staying with it. I'm not going to change it because we're losing now. I'm not going to change it because Kevin Durant isn't playing.
Mm-hmm.
I have my fingers crossed, and I'm hoping for an exemption or a mandate change. Who knows? I think it can happen sometime soon. Your thoughts?
Yeah, the victim card. That's what he's been playing since he's been back. Oh, I wish something would change. Wish something would change. Bro, just get the shot. Get the shot. He ain't going to get it. He's not going to get it. But like with the police thing, I think something's going to change real soon. Especially Jersey with the mask mandate going. Something's going to happen real soon. COVID's going down and the hospitalizations and stuff like that. So I think right after the All-Star break, there will be a change. And we'll see Kyrie on the home court soon.
Yeah, Rihala, he said, Kyrie with his refusal to sacrifice and Harden pointing blame at everyone but himself. Yeah, there's a lot of this diva energy going on. This is not the culture in Brooklyn. It never was.
Mm-hmm.
It never was the culture, yo. The culture was about the team, about Brooklyn grit, about repping Brooklyn in a way that represents the fans and the people that live in Brooklyn and come to Brooklyn. This ain't it. And, with Kyrie and his refusal to get the shot, if the Nets don't win it all this year and the mandate changes, like Kyrie will never be able to live that down. There will be Nets fans, NBA fans that look at him as like, hey, you cost the Nets a title that year or a chance to compete for one. And then even with Harden pointing blame at people, there are Nets fans that he'll never live this down. I was joking with Evan Roberts on Carton and Roberts Friday. I was like, damn, Evan, when you came out and drew comparisons of Harden to Darren Williams, I was like, yo, it's too early for that. But I'm like, I guess you saw something that I didn't see, because now Harden quitting on the team, it's like, I hope he didn't quit on the team, bro. I just hope that we find out that, like, all of that was upset. Rumor. And the thing about being upset, I get upset too. I get over it, and I move on. You can get upset one day, go to sleep, wake up the next day, and it's not that big. So my hope is that for James Harden, it's not that big, and he does get over it, and that we don't trade him to the Sixers and help them out.
That's never going to happen. I'll put that down. That will never happen. Harden will not be a Sixer.
I don't think it's wise of us to trade him right now to the Sixers.
You don't see Red Sox and Yankees making trades, Knicks or Nets. It just does not happen. You don't trade
against your division rival, someone you're going to see. You wait this thing out. Wait it out.
We're in the driver's seat.
Unless they give you a king's ransom. And when I'm talking king's ransom, I have to take Ben Simmons. Okay. But since I have to take Ben Simmons, either Seth Curry or Tyrese Maxey coming over here too. Not Danny Green.
Both of them.
Both then, right. If you want James Harden that bad, we need some get back. We don't know what Ben's going to be, so both Maxey and Curry with Ben.
And first-round picks.
Right, and if it's not both of them, then we need some picks off of y'all because we don't have any picks. You think the Sixers are going to do that? No. They're in Joel Embiid's prime.
He's going to want them to, but there's no way. Absolutely
There's no way. I just don't think it goes down. And if it goes down, I will come right back on this pod. We'll do another pod, and I will be like, oh, well, it happened, and here's what we got. And what I'll say to Nets fans is don't be discouraged, because if it does happen, the Nets will get back pieces that will immediately help this team. It's not going to be a situation where we're like, oh, we got to wait and see if this pick pans out. Or no, if they actually go ahead and press that trade button at the trade deadline and trade this man, they are going to get pieces back in return that are ready to play with Katie and Kyrie.
We're not going to be Houston Rockets. Get nothing back. Back.
No.
We will get players.
So it's crazy, man. The last game that we won, if you look at just a matter of 2 weeks, right? Friday, January 21st, we go to San Antonio. We win 117-102. Harden played and Kyrie played. Harden goes off for 37, 10, and 11, 30-point triple-double. And Kyrie was working, and it was like that was when we saw them hug. That's when we were like, yes, like we're going to be all right because we knew we had this road trip coming up. Then we lose to Minnesota, lose to the Lakers, lose to the Nuggets, lose to the Warriors, lose to the Suns, lose to Sacramento. And this podcast is supposed to be about the last 2 games. We lose to Utah 125-102. Not about to go over it. It literally doesn't matter. I'm not about to tell y'all what James Johnson should have been doing. And then we lose to Denver last night, which is like, it's obviously we weren't going to beat them. 20-point loss. We contended in the first half. We competed in the first half, but we didn't have enough because this team is clearly affected by all the rumors and what's going on. But, I guess we can give props to, like, Blake Griffin. Good shooting night from 3. He hit 5 of 7 from 3. Good for Blake. Gave us 19.
Bruce Brown gave us a little spark off the bench.
Bruce Brown hit a 3. I was like, look at Bruce draining a 3. He gave us a little spark. He's trying to stay 10 points. Cam Thomas. Hey, if Cam Thomas is consistently coming off that bench with 30-point games, that will bode well for this team if he can do that in the playoffs because you're going to have to rest your guys and you're going to need point production when the big 3 sit down, whoever that might be. If you can plug Cam in there, great. Other than that, man, I really don't have much to say about these games, yo. I just don't.
We just need to get to the break.
And what I'll tell y'all is, like, these podcasts right now are for us to talk. And if you have questions, send them in the chat now as we wrap this up as we're getting close to an hour. It's for us to talk. It's for us to come together and talk about every situation or possibility or whatever we think is going on. And, I got another voicemail. Came in late, but I'll take it. And the thing is, there's no need to get on a pod and break down what you saw the Nets doing because this is not the team that the Nets are going to have. There's a chance that a lot of these guys aren't playing.
They're not top 8. They're not top 8 rotation.
There's no point in crunching the numbers and the stats and the X's and O's on these games in this losing streak.
No.
Hi, this is Conrad. What I'm going to say is we need to make a move for trade deadline. Since KD is out, find us a decent shooter or big. Make that trade happen, Nash. And fix your rotation. Nash rotation sucks.
Yeah, well, you can't fix the rotations when you can't rotate to anybody,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people say the same things about Nash, right? His rotation sucks. He doesn't do enough with the refs as far as, like, get teed up, get emotional. He doesn't call timeouts. And now the latest thing on Nash is, okay, he's an inexperienced head coach. He doesn't know how to weather the storm. He doesn't know how to handle this adversity. He doesn't know how to talk to the team in this time to get the most out of them. And maybe he is, and they just still don't have it because it's hard to get this cloud from over your head. Blake Griffin came out and said, the level of urgency is very high. And they know nobody wants to lose 8 games on the road. You're away from home, which I'm glad the guys have come back now. They get a full day off today. Connect with your girl, connect with your wife, connect with your family, talk to people, go get some food at your favorite spot by your house, whatever, and then come back and play tomorrow. And let's talk about this game coming up tomorrow. Tuesday night, we're back in Brooklyn. I'm scared. I'm scared because
we ain't gonna have nobody.
Harden's not going to play. Obviously, Kyrie can't play. And here we are now in a situation where the Celtics are going to be trying to whoop our ass, of course. Yeah. It all is connected. The universe never unconnects, right? We made that trade with the Celtics. I got beef with them forever, and it seems like they always pop up in times like this, right? Karras and the Fro reunited in Cleveland, and now you got to face the Celtics when you get back home on an 8-game losing streak. They can't wait for this game. They can't wait to come in here and knock us off, and they probably will. I just don't see where we get it from. I hate that we're asking this much of Patty Mills. We're required to ask this much of Blake Griffin, Kessler Edwards. Like, it's unfair to a guy like Kessler Edwards, a young guy that's supposed to be developing right now. It's like, yo, we got to start you, and we need you.
Yeah, he's hitting that wall.
Game.
He's hitting that wall, too.
So let's look ahead. What are you feeling? Are you going to any of the games this week, Will? I'm not. I will be sitting these out. We have a game Oh, well,
know.
we have a game tomorrow, but then we're on the road for the next 2, Thursday and Saturday,
the
and then we
Knicks
come
game.
back Monday, February 14th, and we have another home game.
Well, my fiance is listening, so I don't know if I'll be going to any games. I don't want her to get mad at me. But the Boston game, Capshaw, he usually says after a long road trip, that first game back is like another road game. So it's going to be tough. Boston looked good the other night against they were playing somebody that just smoked them by 20-something points. But
this is the NBA. That's another thing I want to tell people, too. This is the NBA, right? And I guess this is a good segue. So we already talked about the upcoming schedule. Celtics next. Wizards Thursday in D.C. Might be able to beat them. That is the trade deadline day. And I think the trade deadline is at like 4 that day.
4 o'clock, yeah. 4 or 3. 3 or 4 o'clock. One of those
So
times.
by the time we get to that game that night, the team could look different. Maybe the Wizards look different. Shit, maybe. Here's an idea. I know it's not going to happen, but here's a Nets fan idea.
Dinwiddie?
Since Karras and Jared Allen are reunited in Cleveland, the only way the Nets can make this thing right is to bring Dinwiddie back. We need one of our old guys back. It seems like Joe Harris isn't going to return.
Yeah.
But
I'll take
I will
him.
be back with. I'll go for it. You have something you were going to say?
I'll take him back.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to do that. If we wanted Dinwiddie, we would have paid him or got something for him last year. But
Yeah.
So we have the Celtics game tomorrow, Tuesday. Then we have the Wizards game on Thursday. Big Fan Breezy and I are supposed to record on Friday,
Nice.
the 11th, and we'll talk about the trade deadline. We'll talk about whatever happens or doesn't happen, but that's fine. But then we got to go to Miami and face the Heat. The Kings will come here. I don't know. They just beat us. So hopefully Harden plays once we get on the other side of the deadline. And then, y'all, Wednesday, February 16th, of course, we got to go face the New York Knicks, who are right now they're struggling. They're in a tough spot. But you be out of your mind if you think they're not circling this date as like, okay, we've lost a bunch of games in a row to the Nets. This is looking like if Harden doesn't play, this is looking like their best time to beat the Nets in a long time, and this will be their Super Bowl. This will be their championship.
And Bobby from the Brigade sent out an email. He's trying to get a whole bunch of Nets fans
I saw that.
in MSG.
I'll be working, man. And now that I've been working with Capper and Carino, it's easier for me to join them from the station than at the arena or whatever. So I'm just kind of sitting out some games, at least till KD gets back and we figure this out.
I hear you.
But it could definitely get rough out there.
Unfortunately. But.
All right. I mean, last thing I'll leave y'all with is positivity, right? This is what I want to say before we close. Looking at the standings, and these are the last things that you have to hold on to, right? 8-game losing streak. Everybody's mad about that. Nobody is pleased. James Harden allegedly quitting on the team. Nobody's pleased. Kyrie Irving not getting the vaccine and being a major part of the problem here and not really owning up to that and just saying, I wish or hope, that's a part of the problem. KD being hurt, part of the problem. But yet and still, Joe Harris being hurt, Claxton being hurt, Lamarcus Aldridge being hurt, Steve Nash being a rookie coach, Sean Marks not building the roster that great. Yet and still, we are in 7th place. We are 4.5 games back. The Raptors are in 6th. They're right neck and neck with us. They have 2 points win percentage better than us. Then it's tight between the 1st through 5 teams. That's why I always look at the you guys got to look at the damn rankings. Like, you got to look at the standings before you get too far ahead of yourself, because the amount of people that were telling me the season is over, I'm like, oh, y'all failed math, or you don't watch the NBA every year, and you don't understand that, like, every year the standings change, or you don't watch any sports. Being a baseball fan, I feel like part of being a baseball fan is always looking at how many games you are
in hand,
first or ahead or whatever. So in basketball, I don't know. But here's a look at the standings. The Heat are in 1st. The Bulls have lost some games recently.
Yeah,
they lost
5-5.
last night.
I think Levine's out too.
Levine has been hurt. Caruso is hurt. Derrick Jones Jr. is hurt. They have guys hurt too.
Mm-hmm.
The Miami Heat are trending up now. They got Bam back. They've been healthy. Okay, good for them. The Milwaukee Bucks have been playing pretty decent basketball. They're on a 3-game win streak, and the Bucks are the defending champs. No one's surprised. They're in third, but they're only a half game back out of first.
Mm-hmm.
The Cleveland Cavaliers just got Karis LeVert to add to their team that has been playing above their heads, has surprised a lot of people. They're only 1 game out of first. The Sixers are in fifth, 1.5 games out of first. Obviously, they have Joel Embiid. They've been playing tough behind him and Doc Rivers, but
yeah.
What I'm saying to y'all is 1 game separating the top, 1.5 games separating the top 5 teams is nothing. It's nothing. It's literally a week of basketball that could jumble up those standings.
Exactly.
And the Nets being 4.5 out
on an 8-game losing streak. On an
8-game losing streak, we're still only 4.5 out. I think when Kevin Durant comes back, we're not going to be mathematically too far out to avoid the play-in. Where if you're looking at, I'm looking at the Nets being a 5 or a 6 seed already. The 1 seed is probably going to be out.
Mm-hmm.
But climbing up to like a 4 or 5 right now is realistic. It's going to be tough.
Yeah. Raptors aren't better than us.
Let's say Kyrie doesn't get an exemption, the mandate doesn't change. You don't necessarily need home court advantage, especially in Brooklyn, where I hate to say it, we don't win.
Especially
we're not that good at home. We were better on the road until we just lost these last 5 games on the road. Mm-hmm. But at home, we're 12-13. We just lost 5 games on the road. We're still 17-11 on the road. And on the road, we get Kyrie Irving's help. We don't need one of those top 4 seeds. We'll be fine with the way the standings are. Yeah. Other teams are going to lose games. It's all going to move around. We're not going to play in the play-in. I guarantee you Kevin Durant plays, and whoever else is on this team post-deadline, they ensure the Nets of not playing in the play-in. So stop worrying about the whole play-in thing. I think we're going to be
okay. Yeah, we'll be all right.
And someone said let's see. Now I'm in the chat before we close. We are the worst defensive team in the league. Yeah, K defense.
We're missing Kevin Durant.
You know how much a 7-foot defender with the highest basketball IQ on the floor can help your defense? A ton. And they're disconnected without his vocal leadership, his communication. And right now I feel like Harden has become a cancer on the team. It might not be Harden himself. And like I said, I was going to defend Harden because Harden has not come out here to be like, fuck the Nets or I want to leave or whatever. Mm-hmm. I get being frustrated because the team's losing. I don't get, like, quitting on the team, though. Like, ball is life. Life is hard. You got to push through it. You got to work through it. It's not forever. So we'll figure it out when KD comes back and can be the leader and be the stabilizing force, be that voice. Let's see. See, like, this is what I can't do. Keith, we won't make the playoffs, period. Like, I get all of that. And like I get doing all that because you're upset, but that's not realistic, yo.
Yeah. I don't even think that's a Nets fan right there.
You know, I get it. Like, okay, last thing let's speak on. He says Keith Harden is way too slow and he can't play above the rim. That's the main problem. There's another level to this. Do we think that the Nets have gone away from, like, his style of play? Do we think that the Nets are looking at his style of play and saying, maybe we don't want you slowly bringing the ball up?
Yeah, that's annoying. That is annoying.
You know, maybe we don't need all the turnovers that you create, giving other teams second chances. I think there's something to that, too, that, hey, right now, when we look at the Nets, Harden's got the ball in his hand so much, it stops the ball movement. Mm-hmm. He brings it up slow. It kills.
What did Evan say? Dribble, 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 fat.
Oh, man.
I don't like it. Get it past half court at 16 seconds. It doesn't. The offense is already on the back.
Yeah, no. Offense, we're going to score points. Defensively, we got to get it together, and I think we will with Kevin Durant. And this is a good way to end. Kevin Durant is the MVP. All of this hinges on Kevin Durant, and if you don't see the impact a healthy Kevin Durant made on this team is not good without Kevin Durant. This team is not good with Harden and Kyrie, especially when they're dysfunctional. KD stirs the drink, whether you think he's the GM or not, whatever. Like, this is KD's club. And this stretch of the Nets losing just, in my opinion, it bolsters his status as MVP.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens when he comes back. We can't expect the world to change. Like, the sky isn't automatically going to be, blue, and, it's not going to, like, everything's not going to be great all of a sudden. But he is a big factor. So, as Nets fans, I just want y'all to be more positive, bro. Like, seeing all the negativity all day, like, I get it. We've never been here. But if you watch sports, you should know it's a long journey. All right, Will, what you got for closing words before we sign off?
Everybody, KD will be back real soon. The dude was dropping 30 points a game. Everything will be all right. That's it.
Peoples Hernandez, appreciate the compliment, bro. I'm just saying you said a lot in the chat that, like, was overreactive stuff. Like, if you're a 22-year Nets fanatic, I get it. Because you've watched the Nets lose so much, you think it's doomsday right now. And that's why Kyrie came out to be like, it's not doomsday.
No.
And I'm trying to tell y'all, what's the point in being so mad and upset when the season is not over yet? Like, what's the point of, like, that's what I'm saying. Maybe y'all need a mental health break. Maybe y'all need to not watch the game Tuesday, because there's no point in getting upset over something that isn't finalized. Like, there's so much to be seen.
And none of our rotation players are playing right now. Come on.
Exactly. Like, this is not the team right now. So what are we really, like, critiquing and bugging out about? All right, that's all we've got. If you guys want to be heard on Talking Nets, call the voicemail 201-870-0461. Shout out to you if you called in today.
Yes.
The merch is no longer on the John Boy Media store. Someone wanted to buy the team shirt that I had with all the nicknames. I went and looked. They removed it. Good. We're no longer a part of John Boy Media, but for some of you that see some of the stuff that I wear and we're looking to buy it, I was telling y'all, hey, while supplies last, it's officially not available on the store anymore. They're not making those anymore, so that's done. But make sure you subscribe to the pod. If you're in the chat right now and you're watching, hit like. And subscribe to YouTube, subscribe to the podcast. We are in the process, like Will joined me today, we're in the process of bringing more fans on. I know some people reached out to me. I have a list of y'all names. We will schedule y'all out and find out the times. Talking Nets is the fan pod for Brooklyn Nets fans. And I don't mind bringing in everybody. I don't care if you got a microphone. I don't care if you got skills at this. We all can talk Nets, and that's what we're going to do. So thanks to Will for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody in the chat. Let's see. Nets Kingdom says, Talking Nets, you going to the game tomorrow? Do you think Harden will be on the bench? Also, do you think the Nets are hiding something? I am not going to the game tomorrow. I do not think Harden will be on the bench. He's going to be hurt again, and they're going to try and shield him from anything he might hear or whatever's going on before the deadline. He's shut down before the deadline. And do I think the Nets are hiding something? Yes. I think there's a lot of things being hidden and games being played right now, and I'm ready for the trade deadline to pass so we can just get back to basketball and figuring out what this team's identity is, what this head coach is, and what our prospects are, going into the postseason. Because, I mean, as good as the East is, it is not going to be a cakewalk to come out of the East. And if we do somehow come out of the East, the West is going to be tough no matter who represents it. So, I understand y'all, coming into this season expecting for a run to the finals after being eliminated by the champions, being eliminated by the team that won the finals. This DVD, this 30 for 30, we are in the halfway point. We're just getting into the good part of the movie. So buckle up and hang on. Once again, appreciate y'all for watching, for subscribing, and for listening. Nets World, hold your head. Our world, Nets World. Let's go Nets. Let's go Nets. Brooklyn.